Should your next Mac be an iMac or a MacBook? Over 90% of Macs sold today are laptops, and it's easy to see why. They're thin and light, while still offering best-in-class performance and battery life. But there's some compelling reasons to get a desktop Mac as well. You can save some money, and you'll have a more reliable machine. So let's talk over the pros and cons over getting an iMac, Mac Mini, and Mac Studio versus a MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. Number one, the most obvious reason to get a MacBook is it's easier to take with you. Unplug it and stick it in your bag, a 10-second process, and you're good to go. And in a pinch, you can just take it out, sit it on your lap, no matter where you are, and you can get some work done. An iMac, being a thin, lightweight, all-in-one computer, is pretty easy to carry around as far as desktop computers go, but it still doesn't have an internal battery, and it still won't fit inside your backpack. A Mac Mini, being as small as it is easy to carry from here to there, provided both here and there have a desktop display, keyboard, and mouse ready to plug into. Really, nothing can compare to the portability of a MacBook Air. Number two, most desktop Macs are considerably cheaper than their MacBook equivalents. The one thing that everybody knows about Apple products is that they can be pretty expensive. I would argue that the quality, power, and reliability of the computer you get justifies the price, but no amount of justification is going to make it worth it if you only have a little bit of money to spend. Buying a desktop Mac can save you a considerable amount of money if you compare it to an identically spec'd MacBook. At the base level, the Mac Mini saves you $500 compared to the MacBook Air. At the Pro level, the Mac Mini saves you $700 compared to the equivalent MacBook Pro. And at the Max level, you save a whopping $1,000 getting a Mac Studio instead of a MacBook Pro. And all of those are assuming the smaller screen sizes. Add an extra $200 if you're cross-shopping with the 15-inch MacBook Air, or $300 for the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Granted, the price differences are there for a reason. The Mac Mini and Mac Studio don't come with the display, keyboard, and mouse that you'll need. On the other hand, if you're doing your daily work on a MacBook, you probably already have a desktop display, keyboard, and mouse that you dock it to anyways. So if you don't have as much money to spend, and you already have such a setup, you can save a lot of money getting a Mac Mini or Mac Studio instead of a MacBook. Or you can use the price difference to get a more powerful Mac. Instead of getting the base 14-inch MacBook Pro, you can instead get a Mac Mini with a more powerful Pro-level chip, double the memory, double the storage, all for $100 less. Another thing to note is that the iMac, which comes with a built-in display and with a keyboard and mouse in the box, actually costs the same as the equivalent MacBook Air. But while you give up on portability, you're upgrading from a 13-inch display to a desktop-class 24-inch display. Number three, if you're the sort of person who keeps a computer until yours literally stops functioning, you're more likely to get more years out of a desktop Mac than a laptop. Laptops take more physical abuse, and they have more unique, tiny, special parts that are more likely to break over time. Now, assuming you don't have a habit of dropping your laptop, the battery is the most likely reason it will fail. And let me put it to you this way. If you're this far into watching this video and you're still genuinely not sure if you should get a laptop or a desktop, you're probably not the sort of person who uses your laptop as a laptop very often. You probably go on the occasional weekend trip or work trip just often enough to make you unsure. That kind of lifestyle, leaving your laptop plugged in 364 days out of the year, is devastating to the lithium-ion battery inside. My MacBook Pro, for example, held up perfectly during college, but as soon as I graduated and I started leaving it on my desk all the time, the battery life plummeted, and now the computer is completely non-functional. The battery is starting to swell. It's honestly a fire hazard. I probably wouldn't be allowed to take it on a plane even if I wanted to. But on the other hand, number four, the conventional wisdom that laptops are second-rate computers compared to desktops just isn't true anymore. It used to be when Apple put Intel chips inside the Mac that when you compared a very similarly spec'd iMac to a MacBook Air on paper, the iMac would still always outperform it. That's because Intel packaged their chips that weren't manufactured as well, the ones that wouldn't run as fast or as hot. They packaged and sold those as laptop chips. Now that the more energy-efficient Apple Silicon powers the Mac lineup, the rules have reversed. Apple puts their best manufactured chips inside MacBooks first for their superior power efficiency. They put the underperforming chips in the desktop lineup where they can feed it more power for the same performance. That means that it doesn't matter whether you buy laptop or desktop. An M3 Pro is an M3 Pro, no matter what form factor you buy. But on the other hand, number 5, that rule only holds true where they sell the same chip, desktop and laptop. The most powerful, the highest tier of performance you can buy is only available on the desktop. The MacBook Pro can be configured up to the Max chip, but the Mac Studio gets the even higher tier Ultra chip, which is effectively 2 Max chips interposed together. That means you get double the processing power, double the graphics, and double the memory. It isn't exactly Apple style to sell a MacBook with half-day battery life, and while Apple Silicon chips do run pretty cool and are pretty energy efficient, they're not magic. The MacBook Pro is simply too thin as it exists today to contain such power. The real magic of Apple Silicon is that no matter what Mac you buy, you're going to get a great computer. So those are some of the pros and cons, desktop versus laptop. Remember to like and subscribe. I'm D. Griffin Jones with Cult of Mac.